Around 1996 to 1997, Sega and the Sonic franchise weren't doing so hot. Of course, by no means as bad as it was in 2006, but they sure as hell weren't where they were in 1993. While they had achieved massive success prior with the Genesis and the first 3 Sonic games, they had put themselves in a bit of a rough spot at this time. The Saturn had come out 3 years prior to less than favorable results, and shoddy Genesis add-ons such as the Sega CD and 32X weren't painting their brand in the greatest light. Sure, among this slew of odd decision-making and poor financial success in terms of hardware, there were a few gems, such as Knuckles Chaotix, Nights into Dreams, and so on, but a mainline Sonic game was yet to be seen on the Saturn. They tried their hand at other mascot platformers, but I sincerely doubt anyone was chomping at the bit to play Bug. That was until Sonic X-TREME was announced. Finally, a reason for Sonic fans to buy a Saturn. It was cancelled in 1997. Yeah, the story of Sonic X-TREME is way too long of a tale to tell here, but to make it short, development crunch and lots of technical frustrations led to its cancellation. During this period of time where Sonic X-TREME was in limbo, however, a little company called Traveler's Tales, which developed the Toy Story game for Genesis and SNES, as well as other projects for larger companies, took on the task of making a Sonic game to hold over fans for the holiday season in 1996. This game was Sonic 3D Blast, but that's another topic for another day. Around the same time, however, a fully 3D Sonic game was being developed by the same people exclusively for the Sega Saturn. This game would be dubbed Sonic R. Released in 1997, Sonic R was a technical marvel for the time, with its draw distance fade effects, colored lighting, and environment mapping, which was thought to be impossible on the Saturn. Aside from this, however, the game did garner a very mixed reception. Its Eurobeat music with vocals by TJ Davis was seen as an odd choice for a Sonic game. Its controls were also found to be loose and clunky, making players bounce all over the place and fall into the game's infamous molasses-like water. It also had a lack of stages, which made the game an extremely quick playthrough. These criticisms would be repeated and then accentuated once the internet and YouTube became popular, with reviewers touting it as one of the worst Sonic games of all time, up there with Sonic 06 and Sonic Boom. I, however, find all of this hate to be, quite honestly, excessive and unwarranted. I find Sonic R to be a fairly good game. Not one of the greatest, of course, but not the terrible, unplayable mess that people tend to describe it as. My experience with this game goes back to 2011, when a friend brought over, and never took home, a bunch of their old GameCube games. Among them was Sonic Gems Collection, and being the 8-year-old Sonic fan I was, that's basically all we played while they were at my house. I really liked it and came back to it every now and then. Of course, being 8 years old, I didn't bother asking my mom to get me a memory card, so my progress was never saved. I didn't care though, it was still just as fun. Now, call me biased all you want. This is an opinionated review, so of course I'm fucking biased, but I still really enjoy Sonic R. I like the charm of the 90s polygonal graphics, I really dig the music and find it a guilty pleasure, and I love speedrunning it and knocking seconds off my time for each course. What separates Sonic R, though, from other games from my childhood, like Croc Legend of the Gobos or Sonic CD even, also from Sonic Gems Collection, is that it still holds up in my eyes and isn't being blinded in my mind by nostalgia. Sonic R is still a game I find enjoyment in, and that's because, from playing it so much, I figured out how it's supposed to be played. Part 1. You aren't playing it right. Excuse me, I hear you proclaim? Well, I can't exactly be for sure you said that, but let's just say you did. Yes, I did just say that you, probably, aren't playing it in the way that it was meant to be played. The majority of people who lambast and shit on Sonic R are playing it like it's a typical 3D platformer, which it isn't. It has platformer elements for sure, but at its core it's a 3D racing game, plain and simple. People play it by pushing the analog stick forward and tilting it in the directions they want to go, which provides a hard to control and generally clunky experience. Turning is a hassle and you bump into walls so much it isn't funny. But it is funny, because you're playing it wrong. There are controls right there that allow you to play it so much more precisely and tightly and prevent wall collisions. Firstly, press the accelerator button instead of pushing the analog stick forward. This will make you move on your own. Then you can steer left and right with the analog stick, allowing for much tighter turning. You can also use the L and R buttons to drift around corners, which provides even better turning. All in all, you need to play it like it's a racing game, because that's what it is. I also find that people tend to always pick Sonic upon their first playthrough, which, yeah, that was kind of a bad idea on Traveler's Tales' part.
Oh no!
However, there is a whole cast of characters to play as, and even more if you unlock them by collecting the Sonic tokens in each stage. If you're just starting out, playing as Knuckles will provide a much better experience. He has the best handling of the 4 available characters at the start of the game, and even has his glide ability from Sonic 3 and Knuckles. He's the best character to play starting off, and once you get better at the game and how it controls, playing as Sonic should be a cinch. But don't play as Sonic because he sucks. Part 2. You aren't playing it right. Continued. When people play and review this game, they seem to always play the same version, that being the Gems Collection port for the GameCube. Now, while this may be the easiest and most accessible version, it is by no means the definitive and most accurate way to play. For some backstory, the original game for the Saturn was ported to Windows in 1998, with improved UI, sound quality, model quality, and a later LAN play patch, which allowed people over a local network to play multiplayer. This version would then be updated for newer versions of Windows in 2004. This is where everything goes wrong. Due to the original 1998 PC release having Direct Draw mode, which allowed for the colored lighting from the Saturn, and Direct Draw being deprecated in 2000, this was removed, and this, among other graphical effects such as transparent polygons, etc., were stripped from the game. To add further insult to injury, in some prints of this version, as well as the original 1998 release for some reason, music doesn't play right. And in the 2004 version, it uses a different codec, a much more uncompressed one, and doesn't allow for looping. And some versions of the game also just don't have any music, for some reason. These shouldn't be too big a problem if it weren't for the fact that the GameCube release in the Gems Collection uses the 2004 PC release as its base. You can even find traces of the old display settings page hidden in the game's files. The GameCube version retains all of the things omitted from the 2004 PC release, aside from the music glitches, creating what is essentially a port of a re-release of a port of a Sega Saturn game, lacking basically all extra features from the original. Fortunately, fans have created mods for the game which attempt, and succeed, at bringing back all features lost in the 2004 re-release. The Sonic 4 Updater is a mod that takes the original 1998 PC version of Sonic R, updates it to work on modern Windows, and adds back the looping music, color lighting, and other visual effects lost from the Saturn. All you need is either version of Sonic R for the PC and you're set. Blaze Hedgehog did a great in-depth video on how to get it up and running, so if you're interested, I highly suggest checking it out. The Sonic R Updater takes what became a bad port of a game and makes it so much more enjoyable and pleasing. I seriously recommend it. Part 3. Things you may have missed / conclusion. Most people tend to see Sonic R as a short, unremarkable Grand Prix racing game with 1 mode and 5 tracks. They're right about the 5 tracks, but there is definitely more to the game. People always overlook the time trial modes and what they have to offer. While it's not much past the main game, it is a fun selection of minigames that allow you to take full advantage of the gameplay and its environments. The main time trial mode is fun in and of itself, being, well, a time trial mode. Speedrunning this game is fun. Seriously fun. The maps are a lot more in-depth and planned out than meets the eye. The sheer number of shortcuts, hidden areas, and much more just makes speedrunning and exploring the maps a really fun time. Finding shortcuts you didn't know existed and knocking seconds off your lap time is really satisfying, and just exploring the map in general is fun. There are so many things to this game that people tend to overlook, and I haven't even brought up the balloon scavenger hunt mode, the tag mode, or the multiplayer. Sonic R is just a fun game. Again, it's not a masterpiece, and it definitely has its flaws, like a clear lack of balance with the characters, the lack of stages, the poorly designed save screen, and quite a bit more. But it's definitely not the worst Sonic game ever made. It truly deserves a second chance. Now, you may be saying, but Claybit, if you're supposed to play it in a way that isn't made clear by the developers at first, that means it's bad. And my response would be to end the video right now because I'm done talking about a Sonic game from 1997.